Hi everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. The weekend is here. I've had a very busy week with work and all, but I continue to do, of course, my madness of trying some of the best electronics out there that money can buy, and bring that experience to you guys. Bring that conversation, the basically my takeaways, right, of what each component does. Today's video will be what amplifier, what tube preamplifier did I buy? Okay, but before I get into that, you know the drill. It is time to subscribe, hit the like button. You know it is very important for this YouTube channel. It is important to me, and I could not do this without you all. Okay, anyway, that said, before I get into the reveal of the tube amplifier that I finally was able to get in here, very curious about this brand. I've never owned it. I want to talk to you about the previous video with regards to the different groups, tier groups of amplifiers that I have owned. So I went over the top tier groups, gave you my piece, my experience, my opinion on what those are. And now I am going on my last video over the middle of the pack, or mid-tier groups, if you will. I have not finished that video yet. You guys haven't seen the entire list of amplifiers that belong on that particular group, that belong in that particular group. So there are still a few amplifiers that are coming to you on the next video. As you know, I have probably 2 more videos that I need to do. One of them, which is finalizing the list of that mid-tier group, and then the final one being the bottom of the list, amplifiers that I feel are at the bottom of this group of all the amplifiers that I've owned. Okay, so stay tuned for that. I think you guys are going to love what's coming. Mike goes into detail about other things that I think some of you guys will find interesting. Anyway, so let's get to talk about the new amplifier that I have here. It's not exactly new. It is a used piece that I bought, so it is broken in, okay? This amplifier has been an amplifier that I never expected to own. But like everything else in life, opportunity knocks on the door, and I jump at the opportunity to acquire something like this. It is a very special unit, and it is my honor to present to you my new tube amplifier, the VAC or VAC 450 statement IQ. These are the monoblock amplifiers, 450 watts into any load, and they use 13 tubes, as you can see. Beautiful looking amplifiers. They come with an external power supply. So that transformer, that thing weighs very, it's very heavy. The whole amplifier, guys, it probably weighs like 150 to 200 pounds. It's a very, very heavy amplifier. I love the initial impressions that I'm getting. It's a very musical amplifier. It's got incredible amount of emotion. It never sounds fatiguing, regardless of the volume level. Here, pretty much you can sit here and listen for hours and hours and hours on end, and you'll never have to be concerned with it getting too bright. Okay, you are going to have to try hard to make this amplifier sound bright. At a high level, guys, I want to share with you all that one of the biggest things I have noticed initially is the warm-up time on this amplifier. It is an actual fact. The warm-up is probably an hour or 2 before it begins to sound right. If you ask me what is it that it doesn't do right initially when you first turn it on, is it sounds very veiled. It sounds very dark. It sounds very rolled off. It sounds as if nothing pops off the speakers. Nothing pops out of the speakers. There's no three-dimensionality to it, okay? It tends to just sound like a one-dimensional presentation, and it sounds big. It sounds very big. It's got great bass, but right in the beginning stages, it just doesn't do anything for me. But let me tell you something. I left it on over the last weekend. I think last weekend I had it on for like 5 hours. I was out there doing things around the house, and I came back, sat down, and I started going like, wow, okay, this is not how I heard it 5 hours ago. 5 hours ago. Once you let it warm up, guys, the sound begins to just suck you in completely. The presentation, the imaging, the separation, the mids are beautiful. Mind you, I am using the stock KT88 tubes that it comes with. I also have KT150s, which I have not tried to see what happens to the sound. I am also only using the 4 ohm taps, so I'm not using the 8 ohms or the 2 ohms. I need to try and listen. I did speak to VAC this morning in regards to which binding post, which impedance to use on the back of the amps, and they said unfortunately there is no like rule of thumb. You kind of have to play it on the different taps and decide which one you like best. The original owner of the amplifier told me he used the 8 ohm. I am using currently the 4 ohm. The only video you guys have heard was using the 4 ohms. Okay, 4 ohm tap. So I still have to play with it, guys, some more. Remember, I do not have a VAC or VAC, however you want to call it. I do not have a VAC preamplifier. I only have a, I don't want to go into detail as far as what brand it is, but I have about 3 other line stages, okay? And I am actually, right now, today, I'm using the Solution 725 with it. So the amplifier has been on today for approximately 2 hours while I've been doing things around the house. And right now it is 7 o'clock at night. And I can tell you that in about an hour and a half or so, I am going to sit down and listen to it with the Solution 725 connected to it to see what happens. If there's synergy. You guys know the 725 line stage has tremendous resolution. So I'm curious to know what happens when you use a preamplifier like the 725 and a tube amplifier like this, like the VAC statement, that together I want to know what happens. Is there synergy? Am I getting all this resolution that typically tubes tend to lose, but because I'm using such a highly resolving preamplifier like the 725, does that preamplifier negate the shortcomings of using a tube amplifier? Does that make sense? I want to know if I throw a extremely detailed preamplifier into a tube amplifier, if things are actually going to work out really well. If I am going to be able to pick up the nuances, the minute details, and if that's the case, could you imagine having all this resolution from this preamplifier along with the tube, beautiful sound from tubes, that romanticism, that extreme engaging personality that tubes are known for? I mean, think about that for a minute, guys. That could be a very, very interesting combination, right? But anyway, I can tell you that by far this has been miles ahead of any other tube amplifier that I have ever owned. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make a bold statement. This amplifier easily, quite easily defeats a lot of my former solid state amplifiers. I'm not going to go into much more detail than that. What you need to know is this is extremely special. It's almost like an amplifier that I never thought, specifically talking about tubes, by the way, I never thought would have it in it to do the things that it is doing for me so far. Now, granted, I have to be honest, these amps currently retail for $140,000 MSRP. I mean, that is the current retail on these models. This is not an audio research amplifier that usually is around $20,000, $32,000, or even the big mono 750 SCs that I believe are 60 or 65. These are way above that. And let me tell you something, they sound way above those as well. I mean, they really, really bring to the table things that normally I would never think a tube amplifier is capable of. Again, these have an external power supply, so it could be that. It could be the fact that they have that going for them, and other amplifiers that I have had don't have that. So all I can tell you guys is I am quite impressed at this time, and I am so excited to be able to bring you all this level of components. As you know, I am the only guy, the only crazy guy doing this. Nobody is doing ultra high end the way I am. Everyone else is doing what they do, which you guys know what it is, okay? And I'm not trying to criticize, but I want to also answer one additional question, which is that actually I want to give you guys a little more context about what I'm thinking. My channel is primarily dedicated to the ultra high end. This is no secret, okay? And because of that, you know, I am the type of person that I follow a lot of YouTubers who review cars. And I am mainly interested in those that review the big boy vehicles, the Lamborghinis, the Dodge Vipers, the Ferraris, the cars that I could never afford, at least so far, at least today, I can't afford them. I'm interested in that. I find that intriguing to see those cars and what they are, the engineering is all about. I'm not really into following cars such as the typical Toyotas, the typical Hondas, and I mean those, no disrespect to anyone, but I'm not interested in following the normal things. I like to follow the extreme. And I want, because I'm so into the extreme, I want to bring you guys the extreme. Some of you guys hate the fact that I place a lot of emphasis on very expensive components, but it is no secret to you all that that's what this channel has been about since the beginning. I have never really been about reviewing average components from a price standpoint. That does not mean that I can't occasionally bring a product or two to give you my opinion on. But if I can play and swim in these waters, deep waters of the ultra high end, I just simply have no interest in going into the more affordable path. Not trying to criticize, it's just that is in my rear view mirror, guys, right? And if it's behind me, I don't look behind me, I look ahead, okay? So I just wanted to give you guys that context. I hope you guys are excited to hear the VAC 450 IQ statement monos. And I will be talking more in depth about them. But for now, guys, that's all I got. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Get ready for more. It's coming your way.